So, Eddie, about empty strings and what we've been talking about. I think, first of all, to have a more settled setup of the violin, right? So, rather than doing something like this is very up, the violin is held by the chin, and then you kind of play on top of that. That's the feeling I get what you are aiming for. I would suggest to have more like allow this weight to be there and to pull with the arms. So it's not like this, but it's more like, I don't know, more like it's hard to describe, but maybe you see what I mean. Also, definitely listen to Suzanne. So that's what I see that also might be exacerbating at least your shoulder and neck problems if you kind of hold something very stiff, right? Like I mean, with force. I mean, that looks maybe strong, but it's also like very tense. Okay, and if instead you can be more not really relaxed, but more have everything settled. I'm not expressing this very well, but hopefully you can see what what I mean by that. And then about the empty strings, if you have this feeling of maybe supporting also the violin with the left hand a bit for the empty strings, then you can like set the bow on the string and pull just a bit, and then back. And of course, I mean, I'm not doing that perfectly. There are some kind of tiny adjustments, but the idea I have is that, or that has been given by me, of course, it's not something that I developed by myself, is that you set the bow, you give some impulse to the bow, and then it just travels on its own, so you don't have to kind of do anything with your arms or your fingers or whatever to keep it on track. It will stay on track on its own, right? So if this is the direction you give it, then in the down bow it's also pulling with gravity. So I mean, gravity is helping you in that case, so you're pulling. And for now, I think to experience this, that you can actually let the bow do its own work and you don't have to, I don't know, keep it on track or whatever. I think it's good to do this just with a single down bow. Maybe it didn't exactly stay in the same lane, but close enough. And then there is this idea like pushing and pulling. So if you do that, have that feeling in your bow hand, like pulling, down bow, and then pushing. So there is even a slight change of the angle of the hand on the bow, because if you pull like this, I mean if you hold your bow and then pull, I mean it will be nearly go in this direction, you see. So it, of course not that extreme, but it's also not that much. But if you really want to pull with force, then that's what's happening. And then if you push against the resistance, then the hand will slightly go this way, and also the thumb will slightly move from maybe from here to here. So it's not one fixed thing, like that also makes it very hard to have a fluid movement. I mean, for me particularly, because my shoulder is kind of not that flexible. But if I notice if I do it like that, holding the bow and trying to stay in one position with the fingers, I can barely do it for a very short stroke, and it feels really tense, right? So that's my that's my encouragement to you. Like, you can also, maybe this in the middle is easiest, just let the bow travel and let it travel back. And then I think that to do this from the lower arm, I mean, I had to be taught to do that also recently, or to be made aware of that, but it's actually quite natural, because if you pull, to do that with the whole arm, it doesn't even, I mean, the lower arm is much closer to the action, so it's much more natural to use that one, right? And then if you've done it, like, you could start from the middle or below the middle a little bit. See, okay, the bow is still on track. Then go on, and rather than kind of trying to correct or trying to hang on to the bow, just stop when you feel it's getting off track, right? Just stop and start new. So I would do it like this. And then go back. So I notice that I have a tendency now to veer off course, because the bow is, it's not parallel to the bridge, and it's parallel in the wrong way, because you can see if you are slightly tilted in this way or are directed in this way, then if you want to go up bow, it will go in the direction where it points, right? So if anything, if it's not straight, you have to point it like, when you go down bow, you have to point it like this. This is exaggerated, of course, but then it will follow the course. Yeah, so I did something with my arm that brought it off course, so I'm doing it again. Maybe still. That's better. Okay, and here, if anything, the bow should not be, if I go down bow, the bow should be in this direction, or really parallel to the bridge. But if you need to kind of have some extra insurance, then you can do it slightly like this, and then just let the bow, as if it falls through your hand, right? Only that your hand still stays on the frog, but and the other way. So that was better. Okay, so I don't know. I know that this was not completely straight, right? But I feel like it was what the bow wanted to do, and I just set it up and then I let it alone, I let it be. I don't kind of overcorrect it, right? So that's the idea, and you can do that on all strings. And also with longer bows in the end. But I mean, my goal would not to be to do whole bows, but to do sections of the bows in a good way, right? So that's the experiment. So you can see, okay, good. So here. Of course, to do it at the frog is the most difficult, but still, it can be done. And of course, I mean, you need to review your own lessons with Suzanne about how the bow hold should look like at the frog. I'm not even sure that mine was all that good, because I noticed that these fingers and also these knuckles kind of get a little bit high, so that's maybe something that I want to watch for. But I think, yeah, just this principle. Let the bow do some of the work, don't over-direct it. Yeah, so that was my main idea, and I hope you have some fun exploring this. It's, I think, it's much easier, or maybe also more enjoyable than just playing, oh, this one bow and it has to be straight. Like, okay, you know what I mean. Okay, and then if you want to give more weight into the bow, then that is a matter of like doing this motion, pushing with the thumb upwards and with the index finger downwards, and that way you can give some more weight for louder sound. So that's much, I don't know, louder and maybe healthier sound with more core, but it's independent of letting the bow travel in this direction, right? So here you just let it coast. Okay, and if the sound goes weaker at the tip, that's for experimentation purposes, to learn how to let the bow do its own work. That's completely okay. Okay, so that's one idea I have more, but I think it's also good to do one thing after the other. So let me know if that helps, or if you can work with that, and yeah, we will see. Good. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.